Yeah, so tell us a little bit about how you kind of got into the fitness industry, I suppose, and maybe or your route into the fitness industry and how that's shaped the way that you train other people.
So, sort of the way I got into it was mainly like most people, I suppose, playing sport. So I played a lot of football growing up, sort of got to a decent-ish level, and just loved going to the gym and loved training and loved the whole aspect of sort of learning about training and then sort of seeing yourself progress and sort of that way. And then I sort of training with other people, and then it's good to sort of see them progress at the same time. And I think it sort of gets you into sort of like a coaching mindset. And yeah, so in 2011, I did my PT course and then started working at the local sports centre and sort of like offering sessions there. And sort of did that for a few years and then sort of briefly joined the army, and that didn't quite work out. So I ended up coming back sort of into the PT world, and then obviously went in with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you kind of get more into it to, I suppose, the training to kind of help your sport, or was that kind of a separate thing?
It was a separate thing, really, which is why I ended up veering away from football and then into the powerlifting, because I started to find that I was enjoying the weight training a lot more than I was then enjoying the football.
Yeah.
So it made sense to then try and find a sport that was sort of more focused on sort of the strength and sort of gym-based stuff.
Yeah.
So football sort of phased out, and then sort of stumbled into powerlifting and sort of went from.
Yeah. So that's your kind of, I'd say you're more of a strength-based trainer, I suppose, strength coach and nutritionist. But what's your kind of your general philosophy, let's say, around training to start with?
So around training, it's about sort of being strong in the real world. So, if you're strong on like a certain machine, it may not translate to sort of in the garden when you need to pick up a stone or something, or move stuff around or push a wheelbarrow. So I like real world strength. So I'm always a big fan of strongman as well, because I just think it's so cool to sort of see people do that stuff. So I like to be strong, and movement's really key. So obviously if you don't move well, you're going to end up sort of doing things in bad positions, probably injure yourself, and then not want to do it again. Yeah. So if we get people moving better and performing better and get them stronger at the same time, then, in theory, you're the full package.
Yeah, and that's something you've employed kind of in your own training, but other people as well?
Yes. So I've been doing it for a while, but I've gone sort of really a lot more into the movement side now to sort of help with the strength stuff, because I found with sort of just getting to that sort of the lifting that bit heavier, because I'm quite a light guy. So I think if I found my movement wasn't very good, I was then starting to get a lot of niggles. Yeah. So then improving that side and taking time on that side then has helped and will help more translating into sort of the bigger lifts.
Yeah.
So incorporate a lot of people, because, a lot of people will sit down at a desk all day and you'll get crumpled in a weird position and you may start moving strangely. And then you want to come to the gym and do stuff, but if you're not in a good position, you're not moving well, then you may actually be doing more harm than good.
Yeah. So kind of find the balance of being strong but mobile at the same time.
Yeah. And just making sure, all your joints sort of work in the right way and get your firing patterns right. And then it'll all translate to the gym stuff. And like I say, then you'll be almost the whole package.
I will bring it all together. In terms of, I'd say kind of like how you view your nutrition and tying it in with your training, I suppose. So you're a general kind of nutrition philosophy, but then how you tie it in with your training, maybe?
Yeah, so my nutrition philosophy may be slightly different to what the mainstream is at the moment, because I know a lot of the mainstream is, calories are king, calories everything, and food is food, calories are calories, and as long as your calories are low, you'll lose weight, which in theory it will. But my philosophy is more on sort of the health and performance side. Mm-hmm. So, essentially, if you're in a calorie deficit, then you could be in a calorie deficit eating nothing but biscuits all day, but you're going to feel. So I look a lot more into the actual food you're eating and what they do in your body. So, making sure the digestive system works well, making sure it actually then fuels your performance, helps with hydration, and sort of that sort of thing. So to me, like, a calorie is not just a calorie, and food isn't just food. You're going to look a lot different if, I fed you a diet of nothing but biscuits and vegetable oils for sort of a couple of months compared to if I fed you full of steak for a couple of months. So it's, I'm a lot more on sort of food quality and sort of getting the health and performance aspect out of that.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Next, kind of the next 5 years in the fitness industry, I know it changes massively, almost yearly at the moment. You kind of see different phases, I suppose, throughout the industry. What do you reckon the next kind of 5-10 years is going to look like?
I think it's going to go more online, probably from the coronavirus thing. I think it's making almost every business sort of look more at the online way. I hope it doesn't go too online, because I love the in-person coaching and, getting groups together and sort of having the social aspect as well. Well, over the last few years, I think strength sports have actually sort of come on a lot. And even people who, like, don't like to just say women, but women beforehand would have looked at weight stuff and thought, oh, I'll get too bulky. Whereas over the last few years, they've sort of realized that it's actually fun and it actually helps with sort of the lean physique. So I think the strength stuff will continue to go, because that's been sort of pushed a lot by CrossFit. So, whether positive or negative in some aspects, it has brought more people into sort of weight and strength training. And I know from the powerlifting side, like, the competitions have just gone crazy on both men and women. Like, they've had to put the national competitions, like the women, on like a separate day and a separate weekend, just because there are that many people into it now. So I think it will go more that way. I'm hoping nutrition wise, it's going to go more the health way, and actually looking at foods and like the actual foods you're eating and not just your calories. Because I think then if people are getting stronger and they're eating better, we're going to be healthier, because obviously, the health of the Western world is in dire straits over the last 60 years. So because people seem to be sort of focusing more on health now, like, no matter which sort of route they're taking, people are actually thinking about it more. So I think it will go down the sort of a healthier way on the diet and training wise.
Yeah. Okay. And in terms of, I was going to veer off down kind of your training route a little bit earlier, but forgot to mention your kind of from a powerlifting standpoint, let people know a little bit about kind of your training more personally as well, and some of the achievements you've kind of come about with in powerlifting.
So I got into powerlifting, I think it was 2013. I did my first competition. I think I was working with you at the sports centre, and I emailed someone and they were like, oh, there's a competition in 8 weeks' time, come along. And you came along with me and ended up winning my weight class, which was sort of good and a surprise. So training wise for that, obviously we're centered on the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. So if anyone doesn't know, you try and lift as heavy as you can for 1 rep in each of those lifts, and it gets added to a total. And then in your weight class, whoever's got the highest total wins. So my training is essentially to build those 3 lifts. So it can get to the point where you almost give yourself imbalances and you almost create some problems because you're being so specific. And that's where like more of the movement trainings come in now, because I was getting niggles, and I think it was because I was purely doing squat, bench, deadlift, and exercises to just make those 3 better. So now it is still focused around those and still focused around a lot of the similar exercises, but just more movement stuff in there, more sort of prehabby stuff to sort of stop any injuries. And if you move better, you'll end up lifting better.
Movement and like you say, kind of more balancing movements to kind of not level out the heavier stuff, but to kind of keep it a bit more all-encompassing, I suppose.
Yeah, and because you're trying to do everything as light a weight class as you can, obviously, you could just put on loads of weight to help you stabilize things. But when you have lighter weight, the heavier stuff does take its toll after a while. And I was thinking that's what was happening. But yeah, so what have I been doing now? Probably about 7 or 8 years. Obviously last year nothing happened, so probably 7 years worth of competing. And in that time I've won, numerous sort of Southwest Division sort of competitions in my weight class. I came 4th in the British Nationals in 2014 at a light class, and then have moved up a weight class since, and have finished 7th a couple of years ago, and then 6th in 2019.
Oh, nice. Great stuff. And that's what are your biggest totals? Well, we'll go for a total, and then your bench squat and your deadlift. What are your PRs?
So I cannot remember my total, to be honest, because if you've ever been in sort of the powerlifting game, you very rarely get your best squat, bench, and deadlift on the same day. Usually one's going up and one's going down. But I think my best total is around 495. I think just missed out on the 500 a few times.
Yeah.
Best squat in competitions 185, in the gym 190. Bench press in competition 120, in the gym 127.5. Deadlift in competition, I want to say it's 190, and then in the gym 200. So just trying to get back to that 200 again, because it seems to have escaped me for a while, because I do hate a deadlift and love a.
But yeah, I think that is something, isn't it? You for those that haven't competed in powerlifting, there is quite a big difference between being able to, perform in a gym when you can kind of dictate the environment a little bit more. You could have more external things kind of on your side than on the day, I suppose, which is why I'm assuming as well most powerlifters will probably a lot of their records will be in the gym as opposed to in competition, unless everything aligns on competition, I suppose.
Yeah, you do competitions, like it's just totally different ball game. If you haven't done it, you almost don't know until you've done it. Yeah. Because at the time the competitions aren't local, so you're staying in a hotel the night before. You're not having your normal breakfast because you're having whatever's at the hotel, or you're not eating because you've got to weigh in at your sort of weight class. Yeah. And then you've got to warm up with all these other people. So normally you may have a set, I'm on this squat rack, I'll do these jumps in weight, and that'll get me set to where I want to be. But if you've got 10 people with you, you end up just all jumping in together, and you end up sort of like warming up in a different sequence than you normally would, and in different time frames. And then, obviously the actual lifting part, obviously you've got 3 judges watching you, which is different to normal. And then apart from 2020, you've got a crowd full of people in front of you. So just all at you and wait and see what you do. Yeah. And you can't lift when you want to lift. They say you're up, so you go.
On their terms a little bit, I suppose,
Yeah, so you've got to be prepared for that. So sometimes in training, you'll sort of, with rest periods, I'll either cut them short, or if I'm sort of testing a max out session, I may give myself 10 minutes between lifts, because usually, like in a competition, you'll have, say, 10 people in a weight class, and you've got to wait for everyone to go before you get another go. So you end up resting a lot and cooling down a bit. So sometimes simulating that in training is, a good way to do it.
Okay, sweet. And then kind of veering down, like you were saying, 2020 has been a pretty odd year, world pandemic and everything. And obviously we were saying everyone's services have changed. You've adapted your kind of offerings, your services as well. And you've just started running your 10-week online program last week.
Yes. So when the lockdown first started, the first one in March, I started running just online circuit classes, which are still running at the moment because obviously we're in another lockdown. But as of last week, I started running a 10-week sort of transformation challenge. So it's been in the works for a good few months because I wrote an ebook sort of about it. So essentially, people are getting 3 online sessions a week. So online sort of half an hour circuit classes that they can do in their own time. And they also get personalized nutrition from myself. So with that, it's, over 10 weeks, I think it costs about £15 a week. So it's 150 for the 10 weeks, but you are getting sort of personal nutrition, getting your sort of calories set, your protein set, sort of talk about your goals and how we're going to achieve them. Obviously, the ebook I wrote sort of implements the foods I recommend and why, and how ideally it will be set. But obviously, everyone's individual. So we use that as a framework, but I will then tweak it with everyone, so it fits them and so it fits everyone's lifestyle. And the idea is that it's not a 10-week diet, an exercise program. It's a start of a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
So you keep doing the 10 weeks one after the other and you just keep going. Or even if you just do one lot of 10 weeks, hopefully you learn enough from that to then sort of carry on in everyday life and sort of know how to set up your own diet and, for your health and fitness.
Yeah. The start of something else and lots of takeaways that people can implement or carry on if they want. That kind of thing.
So I check in with everyone every week. So if they've got questions, I answer them. We've got a private Facebook group, which seems to get a lot of sort of good fun going. Everyone's sort of posting recipes and having a laugh about the different stuff they're eating and how they're getting on. And yeah, I check in with everyone. So if there's any issues, then, we change things and they can pretty much email me at any time. And, I try and help them out.
Happy days. Happy days. And if people want to find out about that, best place to get you on kind of social media. I know we're both not particularly good and we don't post a great deal on social media, but if people want to find out more about you, where should they head? So
the main place I'll post is Instagram. So that's Matt Smallacombe SC. Or you go to mattsmallacombept.co.uk, which is the website. And that will have all sort of different training options. It'll also have a page just for the 10-week transformation challenge. That will, in the next few months, become a sort of a separate website. So then people who are on the course can then log into that, and then all their workouts are there, the recipes are there, and I'll have a lot more content there. Yeah. Need that up in the next few months.
Great stuff, bro. So people can head there if they want to find out more about it.
Yeah.
Thanks for the chat, and we'll have to do some more of these more specific ones on certain topics as well. So we'll do another one of these soon. Yeah, definitely. It'll be good to get a sort of training topic or nutrition topic going, and have a good chat, bounce some ideas back and forth. Bro, sounds good. We'll speak soon.